Okay, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Meta Rank 1 Custom Tactics. We've got a lot of tactical setups this week, and I wanted to introduce just one of, I know we're kind of going over every single of the 4 tactics. We've got 4 tactics here, but I wanted to reintroduce the 4-3-3, which I mentioned in a couple of days ago in that video, because of the importance of how it is now to avoid pressure, especially with Team of the Year. So if you're struggling against pressure, this is a formation for you. The 4-2-3-1, we moved that one up. We just made it a bit more attacking. I'll go over the changes that we made. 4-3-2-1 and 4-2-4. I think these are the 4 best formations that you could use right now if you're not using a 5-back and a 3-back. So let's say if I was a pro competing in this event that they have, these FC Pro Opens, and you can't use a 3-back or 5-back, these would be the 4 formations I would use. And I'll explain to you why as well. Let's go into the first one. So I've already made a video on this. So I'm not really going to repeat too many things, but more just tell you some different things. But if you want to see the dedicated video on this, the video is on my channel. But the idea behind this is slow build up, playing possession based. This is just merely to use when you are winning. This is not the formation to start the game with. This is if you're struggling with pressure and you really can't get out, then you would switch to this formation. Alternatively, let's say you're winning 1 or 2-0 inside a game, and let's say you want to close the game and lock it up. Now you're under pressure. This would be the formation to use. Works very well, especially if you want to waste time outside your opponent's box. So that's what's very, very important. I'm going to go through the instructions right here. So you can literally just copy and paste these while I'm actually going to load something in the background. Just copy and paste these. Stay central, false 9. I explained this already, why false 9. Or you can use target man and come back in offense. Both left wing and right wing, come back in defense, stay wide, get in behind, and balanced. You can always use center of the box, but I explained again the reasons why to not do it. Long story short, it's just so you at least have some outlets inside the box. Stay back, center of the box, and cover center for the center mid. Ideally, you want to sub a player off here, or maybe you could have someone here that's can do a bit of everything, like Alexia. Maybe you could put Alexia there and maybe sub on someone else instead of there if you want to. Both CDMs on cut passing lanes, stay back while attacking, and cover center for both of these players here. And left back and right back both stay back and overlap. And as I said, the idea behind this tactic is you want to be wide. So when you are basically attacking, you want to be using some sort of 70 width, something that's quite wide. So when you get the ball, you can pass the ball to the wide players. So that is the idea. So out of possession, you're quite narrow. You defend with 2 CDMs and you have a centre mid, basically a midfield 3 with 2 CDM. That's what makes it a superior formation. And then when you have the ball going forward, your striker becomes like a false 9. And ideally, you'd want to put someone that's agile there. So for example, if I was to lay this out, I would do something probably like this. I actually like Neymar on the wings. Seeing you can do a bit of everything in that centre mid role as well. Then we go over to the 4-2-3-1. So what happens to the 4-2-3-1? Do we remove this formation? No, we don't. In fact, because we have now a more defensive formation to close the game out and to basically solidify the game, this doesn't have any attacking prowess at all. At least the 4-2-3-1 is very good defensively and very good offensively. In fact, you can see a full video on how I explain how the 4-2-3-1 works in my Patreon series, patreon.com/nilguys, links down in the description for my FC School Series. If you don't get better after 1 month, we will refund your money. That's a Nil Guys guarantee. That is how sure we are that you'll get better after 1 month. If you don't get better, we'll refund your money. Only service that offers that, by the way. But anyway, back to the video, 4-2-3-1. So what you can do is, because originally we had the 4-2-3-1 as a defensive formation, the 4-2-3-1 is very good offensively and defensively. The difference between these two is that this one has, I would say the wingers, generally speaking, they're a bit better because you see with the 4-2-3-1, you're just stuck with what they can do. Whereas at least with the 4-3-3, you can manipulate them, stay wide, get it behind them, which you can't do without hug the silence and stuff like that. So if you're like a newcomer to the game, or even like if you're not like a top tier elite player, you don't know what hug the silence is, it makes it easier for you. But what I would say is you have a attacking cam that's more of a center forward, whereas this is a center mid. So realistically, and the striker's on false 9, so this is not a formation to even start the game with. This is like close the game out, win the game, anti-press tactic. 4-2-3-1, I said, so what you can do is you can increase the depth all the way to 60. Don't go anywhere beyond 71 unless you've got Team of the Year players and you're very good at that. you would know yourself. I mean, I won't have to tell you that, because if you're at that skill level and you know you can get away with it, you can. But ideally, team of the year players with high depth, you kind of get away with a lot more. This when the pace win gap kind of stretches a bit more with some of these players. Long ball forward runs 45 width. Strikers stay central, stay forward. Camps stay forward, get into the box for cross, similar to what we did before when we had the attacking 4-2-3-1. Lam and Ram, both on just completely balanced. Both stadiums on cut passing lanes, still attacking cover center. And if you want to, you can put one of these players, if you really want to, on joint attack. I'll be making remember I said to you there's an ultimate tactics guide. So basically what we're doing until the end of the year is we're going through every single formation, and we're basically releasing the meta tactics, like a defensive 4-2-2, attacking 4-2-2. So the idea is you experiment between every single tactic. So next year, you know what tactics to use straight away. I want you guys to learn that. I've already mentioned that last week, but it's very important that you learn that, because eventually I want you to stop watching Neil Guy's tactics videos. Trust me, the more you watch this, the better it is for me. More views I get, more money I get at the end of the day. But I also want you to learn this for yourself, so you can come to me for a top up. But realistically, you should be learning how to fine-tune tactics for your own playstyle. Yes, mine's going to work 95% of the time, but for it to work 100%, and what I mean to get an extra 1 or 2 wins, you need to adjust it for your own playstyle. But again, it depends on your level, but adjusting it for your playstyle will help, especially if you're not that good at the game, or you're a new player, or I would say if you're like a 15 and 16 win kind of player, and you're trying to push it, but you really can't push it, and you've been trying for a couple of months, then that's when the tactics will give you about 1 win or 2 wins, especially if you have a complete setup, like a defensive formation and different types. That's why, as I said, we're trying to give you more variations, more systems, because no one else is going to do it, so I'm just going to be the one to do it. 7 players inside the box. This is the 4-3-2-1. Nothing has really changed at all. This does defend in a 4-4-2. Again, feel free to just pause the video. I made this because I've done this so many times now. I'm literally not going to go over it. So if you are new, I don't think anyone's new here, maybe like 10%. But if you are new, I have a dedicated video for each one of these formations. This is like a combination of Anders's, Tex, Mark, Marley, and my tactic. To be honest, all the 4-3-2-1 tactics are very similar. I wouldn't be surprised if PH Zin, who won 2 weeks ago, the FC Pro Open final, is using something very similar to this, as I believe that he's got one of his fullbacks on stay back. I made an analysis video on that win that he did in the final, by the way. And he's got the other one on balance, but he triggers the left back forward manually, which is very interesting. Watch that video where I go over the final versus Anders. And as usual, defensively, Babajide becomes a right mid when you're defending, and Neymar, because he's on cover wing, becomes a left mid. And then we go over to the 44. I've kept it on constant pressure, so this is more of like a balanced but attacking formation, much more attacking, the most meta formation inside the game. And then naturally you need a comeback tactic. This is the comeback tactic. I think this is the best setup I think that probably exists right now after Team of the Year, because you have to be a bit more careful. Everyone's got Messi, unfortunately. Everyone's got Team of the Year players. They're getting away with using high press, so that's why we introduced the 4-3-3 third version. I know everyone's saying to me, no, I can't deal with the pressure with the Team of the Year players against me. With a 55 depth 71 long ball forward run, this is the comeback tactic, as I mentioned. To be honest, you don't even need to use constant pressure. You can just use 71 depth, but I think constant pressure 71 depth just makes it even more cracked. Don't get me wrong, you could be exploited, but that's why we've got everyone on comeback and offense. Stay central, get it behind for the strikers, same as the right mid to the left mid, and both centre mids on get forward. So the idea is when you win the ball back, you're going to have the centre mids join the attack to create overload into the middle, and at least in that way you got a 4v2 or 4v3. And that's why the left back and right back on stay back, because if you have too many players going forward, let's say you're losing 2-0, 50 minutes, you're still in the game. If you end up conceding 3-0, maybe that's going towards game over. If you're up against a competent player that knows what they're doing, close the game out, 1 goal makes the biggest difference. So again, you can just pause these and copy these. But again, nothing has really changed since the first 2 weeks, to be honest. And that just shows how good this formation is. It's always set precedent, and always, I think for the past 2 years, always been my ultra attacking slot. I don't think there's anything really better yet until they maybe buff some of the 3-back formations, stuff like that. But anyway, guys, that is the meta weekly tactics for those that are pushing towards rank 1. one thing you may have noticed, this is more defensive than maybe some of my other weekly tactics setups. So this one on paper should give you the most amount of wins. So out of every setup I've done the one in January, the best of the year, and this one, those two are very similar. That's probably a bit more attacking. This one, in theory, let's say you used it for 3 weeks, you should improve your game style. So even if I upload a new tactics video next week, I'm just substituting tactics in to try new systems out and help you guys discover new tactics. But if you are watching this now, and let's upload next week and a week after, don't feel like you need to change tactics. Use this for about 3 weeks. Give it a go. Give it a real good go. And I promise you'll notice a difference. But you have to be patient and be honest with yourself. If you make a mistake, ask yourself, did I make the mistake or did a game make the mistake? Frustration is the biggest killer this year. Remember that. And even destroys pro players. And I'll be honest, this year, frustration, it probably gets me the most. But you can't get away with being aggressive as you could and making mistakes. Don't forget, if you want to join my Patreon series, patreon.com/NoGuides. For my FC School Series, we go over all formations, in-depth formations. We show you live gameplay examples. We show you a tactical board and how the formations work and why they're so effective and how they compare to each other as well. Links down below in the description. Don't forget, if you don't get after 1 month, we'll refund your minus. No guys guarantee. Thanks for watching. Take it easy and catch you next time. Peace out.